And welcome to Three Questions With. Got my buddy Evan Briere with us. Hey, Evan, welcome to the show.
Hey, Kevin, thanks for having me.
So today I want to talk a little bit about marketing. So one of the things, Evan, that never occurred to me is people taking their phones and putting in restaurants, whatever, near me. When I first saw that, I was like, that's super obvious, but I never thought of it.
Yep.
Really important now, right?
Massively important, and some tips and tricks on that. So a lot of searches have that modifier of near me, and that's going to factor in quite heavily into what the actual results of the search engine. I'm going to focus on Google because that's the vast majority of what most folks use. But that's what basically Google is going to take all of their algorithms and spit back what is answering this person's search query with the modifier of near me. And a lot of that is focused on your Google My Business. So you have three sections of a search engine results page. So first section is your paid ads. Your second section is your map pack, kind of the three map pack that we typically see. And then the final section is the organic rankings. So for any folks who are trying to push those near me, that really hyper local SEO, the focus on those types of searches, you need to be very active and make sure your Google My Business is optimized. If you are running paid advertising as well in terms of search engine marketing ads, make sure you have that modifier in there. So it is a absolutely massive driver of local searches, regardless. You mentioned restaurants, but roofing contractors, plumbers, think of anything and everything that folks will put that because they want. Why are they putting the near me in? They're putting the near me in because of convenience. They want somebody in their community. They want somebody that's going to be available sooner than later. So quick little tip and trick on that. Make sure your Google My Business page is optimized. There's a lot of things you can do on the back end, and then also treat it like another social media page. So you need to be posting on there. If you have specials, you need to be putting that up there. If you have any sort of photos or updates, make sure you're putting it on there as well. And then make sure you're pushing those reviews because that'll help you as well.
That's another great thing. Something I never really gave a lot of thought to is reviews. Because I guess I always kind of like, all right, well, I'm just writing reviews for each other.
Yeah.
But they're still important though.
They're massively, because that's one of the factors of how you'll show up and how you move up the map pack section of that Google map page tied to your Google My Business. So it's relevancy. How well are you answering that person's question? And then your authority as well factors in. So are you a well-regarded vendor? What are the reviews saying? And then again, how active are you on those platforms? And then add back in to what we were just talking about, your proximity. So how close are you to the person that's actually typing that in? And again, we're probably talking about these types of devices because they're going to map that out with your good old location services that you have turned on.
So, Evan, the next topic I want to talk about is targeting, because we all get those unsolicited emails that just aren't a match at all for us. I get those as a Fortune 500 company. I'm like, well, thanks for flattering me, but it's not who and what I am and stuff. So targeting and making sure you're getting the right message to right people, obviously super important.
Massively important. Personalization is key. And this goes, a lot of what we do at LOCALiQ is paid advertising initiatives. So that's even more crucial, right? We're going to market, but even things that you're doing organically, if you're reaching out, if your sales staff is prospecting, you're talking to humans, make sure it's human to human. Do a little bit of research. If, like you just talked about, Kevin, if somebody, maybe they see your videos, they reach out and say, hey, I've been seeing your videos. This is fantastic. This is how we could potentially plug in, or this could be a benefit. At least give some tangible factors. So even at things that you're doing from a marketing automation standpoint, I'm talking email, nurture campaigns, make those personalized. If you have different buckets within your services, if I fill out a form for product X, put me in a nurture bucket for product X, right? Doesn't mean you can't cross-sell me to, XYZ or ABC, but make sure what I originally reached out to, that you have that personalization, you have that targeting. Then when you get into the paid side of it, that takes on an even bigger focus, right? Because we're putting dollars behind that. We want to make sure we're going after the appropriate folks. And a lot of things go into that as well. So the big thing we talk about is the customer journey. And step one of that, I'm not going to go into that whole thing. That would be a 20-minute conversation. But step one of that is think about your customer persona, how they're going to find you, how they're going to do the research. So you can do some of that customization, put yourself in their shoes.
So Evan, one of the things that kind of surprised me a little bit just talking to people is I've come across a few people recently who don't even own computers. But like, I do everything on my phone. So obviously it's always been important, but now more than ever, points of mobile.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The first thing we talked about, near me searches, that's pinging off your location services. And the vast majority of search queries that come into play are from mobile devices. Vastly outweighs in laptops, desktop, any sort, and tablets. It's heavily driven by mobile. So the biggest factor on that, right? So we need to have your website needs to be mobile optimized. If you do not have a mobile optimized website, you are way behind the curve. Okay, that's step one before you do anything else, because Google's immediately taking a look at that and you're being penalized as a result. It's a horrible user experience. The potential consumer is going to get there, going to get irritated if they're having to do the, pinch it back and forth, and they're going to get frustrated and leave. So absolutely mobile for not only how people are going to be engaging with you and learning more about you and researching, but then the actual experience of when they get there, and then how you can do some of those things to become more relevant and more present, be able to be found digitally.
So the last thing I want to talk about today is voice.
Mm-hmm.
I was hanging out with my two nephews, and they take out their phone and think and just speak into it. And I was like, why you guys do that? They're like, why would you take the time to type it? It doesn't make any sense. It's just quicker.
Yeah.
And again, just something, that I didn't really think of, because I find the mistake most business owners make is we think everyone does like we do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, I started, but once they saw it, I'm like, maybe I should use that.
Yeah.
And now I am, but up at that point, I never really gave much thought to that. Voice is huge right now, right?
It's massive, yeah, and it's just going to keep gaining momentum. You talk about not only Siri on mobile devices or Cortana on Microsoft devices, but you talk about Alexa too. So it's a major player. You can be cooking dinner, or you're utilizing your hands and you want to have a quick search query. So that's absolutely taking initiatives. And I think there's going to be a lot of momentum and innovation in that category, even more so moving forward. But absolutely, that's a huge momentum boost for SEO, like what we just talked about at the beginning. That's a real big focus area, is how can you move up in some of those voice searches. So absolutely, that's going to continue to grow week over week, month over month, year over year.
Because I know, like, if I'm reading and it's a topic I'm not familiar with, or I mention a person, I have one of those. I'm like, hey, who is this person?
Yep.
And just ask, because why would I take the time to look it up? Well, like you said, I'm making breakfast and something comes in my head, I just yell over to the speaker, Alexa, tell me this.
Yep.
It's just astronomical. And, you look at the potential of that. One of my family members has to do everything in his day. Okay, start my day.
Yep.
Read the news, does this. People ordering groceries on it. It's just like, wow, how the future is here, I guess, is kind of sums it up.
Absolutely. And it's going to continue. It's just, the reason I think digital has performed so well is because it's convenient. It's on the consumer's time. It's quick. We have, like you just talked about, these super powerful devices right at our fingertips. Voice is the same. It's, how can I sit there that now I don't even have to type anything in? I just speak. It's instant gratification. So absolutely, that is huge, and will continue to be a large driver of digital presence and overall presence for companies moving forward.
So, Evan, how can people reach out to you? How can they learn more, my friend?
Absolutely. I'm active on LinkedIn, so feel free to send me a connection request, Evan Briere. You can find out a little bit more about our company. We are a very large company owned by Gannett at localiq.com, or feel free to send me an email if you'd like to connect. It's ebriere, BRIERE, at local, LOCALIQ.com. And those are going to be the best methods of connecting. But yeah, feel free to do some research on the organization as well. Part of Gannett and part of the USA Today network. So happy to help out with anything and leverage our data insights.
Evan, I really appreciate taking a few minutes to jump on the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Thanks, Kevin.